Everyone believed it was just another routine hearing until the senator's wife broke the silence. She pulled out her phone in the middle of court and called her powerful husband, as if the rules didn't apply. 20 seconds later, Judge Judy's face went still. The audio rang through the courtroom. Gasps followed. Secrets poured out, lies unraveled. And in that moment, Judy didn't just reveal the senator's wife, she tore open the truth about the man behind her. The power pulling the strings, and the scandal they never wanted the world to hear. Before we continue, tell me, where are you watching from? Don't forget to hit subscribe. The courtroom feels different, now charged. Electric, like the air before a storm breaks. The gallery leans forward, sensing something major has already occurred, even if they can't yet name it. Evelyn sits completely still at the defendant's table, her hands folded with the precision of someone trained for public scrutiny. Nothing about her moves except her eyes, darting from Judy to the cameras, to the gallery, and back again, calculating angles, managing image. She wears influence the way others wear jewelry, expecting it to shine. Maria Lopez, standing at the opposite table, clutches a thin folder to her chest. Her breath trembles every few seconds, subtle but unmistakable. She looks at Evelyn the way someone looks at a person who has already taken too much from them. Judge Judy allows the silence to settle a heavy, almost tangible weight. She hasn't raised her voice. She hasn't even moved. Yet Evelyn's smile tightens with each passing second. "Mrs. Pierce," Judy finally says, her tone calm, almost gentle. "Before we go any further, I have one question." The gallery shifts. The cameras focus. Even the bailiff straightens. Evelyn nods, offering a polished political wife's smile. "Of course, Your Honor." Judy's gaze doesn't soften. "Who told you you could call him?" The smile cracks so small it could be missed by anyone who hadn't spent decades watching people break under truth. Evelyn's fingers twitch, a tiny betrayal. Her polished control falters, and for the first time the room glimpses what may lie beneath the surface. She opens her mouth too quickly. It was a misunderstanding. Judy doesn't respond. She waits. Waiting in Judy's courtroom is a surgical tool. Evelyn rushes to fill the silence. "My husband is a public official. People contact him about all kinds of matters. I simply asked for clarification on how to proceed." "You made the call," Judy interrupts softly. During proceedings, Evelyn blinks. Yes, I did, and you put him on speaker." Another blink slower this time. Maria's eyes drop to the floor, reliving those 20 seconds of whispered arrogance. 20 seconds Evelyn thought no one would hear. Judy continues. "You assumed you could consult someone outside this room to influence what happens inside this room." She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't have to. The truth carries the weight. Evelyn stiffens, the veneer of confidence rebuilding itself piece by piece. "Your Honor, I was only..." But Judy raises a hand, a single deliberate motion. "Mrs. Pierce," she says, leaning forward, "we will address the content of that call, and we will address why you made it." The air grows colder. Maria shifts her weight, sensing a change she cannot yet name. Judy's voice lowers. "But first, I want to understand something else." A beat. A pause. "Why did you look scared?" Judy asks, "before you even dialed the number." Evelyn lifts her chin a fraction higher, as if posture alone could rewrite what everyone heard. The courtroom watches her the way people watch a performer who has forgotten where the script ends and truth begins. Judge Judy simply waits still, unblinking. Patient. Evelyn smooths the sleeve of her fitted cream blazer, a movement so practiced it could be part of her daily choreography. Her voice emerges with polished steadiness, the tone of someone accustomed to microphones, podiums, and curated applause. "Your Honor," she begins, "I want to clarify the events surrounding this unfortunate misunderstanding." Misunderstanding. The word hangs in the air like expensive perfume suite. Heavy, meant to cover something? Maria's fingers tighten around her folder. She does not speak. She rarely does. But her silence carries an authenticity Evelyn cannot imitate. Evelyn continues, brushing invisible dust from the table. I hosted a charity brunch, something I do regularly to support local programs. Ms. Lopez attended as a volunteer. She became overwhelmed by the crowd and misinterpreted a simple conversation. Her gaze slides toward Maria, polite but cold. She accused me of belittling her. I tried to diffuse the situation, but she escalated. She has a tendency to. Judy raises one eyebrow, the faintest movement, yet powerful enough to slice through Evelyn's narrative. Mrs. Pierce, Judy says calmly, I asked you about your behavior, not hers. Evelyn's smile falters, then returns. Thinner this time, stretched like a ribbon pulled too tight. I was explaining context, Your Honor. Context, Judy echoes quietly, is only useful when it's truthful. The tension sharpens. The gallery leans closer. Maria's heartbeat seems visible in the slight tremor of her shoulders. Evelyn shifts tactics. It shows in her posture, the tilt of her head, the softening of her tone. Your Honor, I have dedicated my life to public service and to supporting my husband's responsibilities. I am under enormous pressure to maintain order and professionalism. That day, I simply did what I thought was best. Judy studies her, a gaze that feels like a slow zoom, revealing cracks makeup cannot hide. And calling your husband during this hearing, Judy says, was part of maintaining professionalism. Evelyn swallows. The room notices. I only wanted accurate guidance, she says more softly. I didn't want this situation misrepresented. We deal with sensitive matters often. Maria finally looks up. Her eyes meet Evelyn's. There is hurt there. Yes, but also something steadier. Something Evelyn cannot read. Judge Judy shifts her attention. Miss Lopez, she says, you brought a folder with you. Maria nods. Her fingers tremble as she steps forward and places the folder on the podium. She doesn't open it yet. She doesn't need to. Its weight alone shifts the gravity of the room. Judy nods toward it. Go ahead. The latch clicks open soft, but loud enough to steal the breath from the gallery. Evelyn goes perfectly still. Photos, timestamps, printed messages. Proof, her smile fades inch by inch, replaced by something colder. Recognition, Judy's eyes narrow, fixed on Evelyn. Mrs. Pierce, why doesn't your timeline match what's in this folder? The folder lies open like a wound, quiet, undeniable, waiting to bleed truth into the room. Evelyn's breath catches, barely audible, but unmistakably real. Maria's fingertips hover above the first page, steadying themselves before the storm breaks. Judge Judy leans forward just slightly, enough to change the air in the courtroom. The gallery stills. Even the hum of the overhead lights seems to dim. Maria inhales carefully, the way someone does when forcing courage into their lungs. She lifts the first photograph. A timestamp glows in the corner like a small, merciless spotlight. This was the morning of the brunch, Maria says quietly. Evelyn stiffens. Her eyes dart toward the screen as if willing the timestamp to disappear. Maria's voice trembles, but she doesn't stop. Mrs. Pierce told everyone she never spoke to me until the incident inside. But you can see she was already standing with me outside. The photo shows Evelyn facing Maria near the venue entrance, not with the warm smile she claims, but with a pointed finger and a face twisted in irritation. Gasps ripple through the gallery. Evelyn straightens, her smile snapping back into place like a shield. That image is taken out of context. I was asking her a simple question about setup. Mrs. Pierce, Judy cuts in gently. You described your first contact as pleasant. That does not look pleasant. Evelyn's jaw tightens. A single photo can be misleading. Maria turns to the next page without looking at her. Printed texts. Dozens. Mrs. Pierce messaged me 3 times after the brunch, Maria says softly. I didn't respond. Then I received these. Judy's eyes scan the page. These numbers match the area code used by your husband's staff. Evelyn blinks too quickly. I would never involve his office in something so trivial. Maria nods once, painfully. But someone did. Judy turns back to Evelyn. Do you recognize any of these messages? Evelyn hesitates just long enough for the truth to show itself. No, she says, but the word feels hollow. Anyone can spoof a number. The gallery reacts soft disbelief rolling through the room like a wave. Maria closes the folder halfway. Your Honor, I never wanted any of this. I tried to walk away that day, but she followed me. Voice breaks. She told me to remember who she was. Evelyn's face tightens, shock flashing across her eyes. That is a lie. Judy lifts a hand. Lower your voice, Mrs. Pierce. You may dispute her statement during questioning, but the room already feels different, heavier. The folder, still open on the podium, seems to pulse with its own gravity. Pulling attention, pulling truth. Judy nods to the clerk. Please bring up the audio file. Evelyn's head snaps toward her. What audio file? Judy doesn't answer. A screen flickers to life. A single play button glows 20 seconds long. The same 20 seconds Evelyn hoped would stay buried. Her breath splinters. Judy taps the table once. Mrs. Pierce, she says calmly, we are about to listen to your call. The first second of audio crackles through the speakers, soft, shaky, unmistakably Evelyn's whisper. Every head turns toward her, but she doesn't move. Judge Judy's expression remains still, yet her silence sharpens like a blade. The room becomes utterly motionless, the kind of quiet that makes people aware of their own breathing. Evelyn's polished composure evaporates the moment her voice fills the courtroom. Just tell me what to say to shut this down. 7 words. 7 small words that collide with the room all at once. A ripple of whispers spreads through the gallery before the bailiff's stern glare forces it back into silence. Maria stands frozen, arms wrapped tightly around herself, as if the recording tears open something she tried to bury. Evelyn closes her eyes for half a second, barely a blink, barely a reaction, but enough for Judy to notice. Enough for everyone to notice. It is the first truly honest moment the courtroom has seen from her. The audio continues. She is nobody. I just need this handled again. The room gasps not loud, but together. The sound of people hearing a truth they weren't prepared for. Evelyn's head snaps up. That, Your Honor, that is taken completely out of context. Judy raises her hand, and the rest of the recording fades into a low hum. Mrs. Pierce, she says evenly, before you speak, I want to remind you, this is your voice. Evelyn tries to smile, but her lips won't hold the shape. I was frustrated. People say things when they're frustrated. Judy leans back in her chair. Frustration doesn't explain your choice of words or your tone. Evelyn opens her mouth again, but Judy's gaze pins her in place. Again, Judy repeats, tapping the desk lightly. A very specific word. Evelyn shifts. Yes, but not an accident. Judy continues, her voice calm, almost cold in its precision. You said handle this again, not help me, not clarify. You said again, Maria looks down. As if those 7 letters reopen wounds she hoped the court would close. Judy turns to her. Miss Lopez, have you ever filed a complaint against Mrs. Pierce prior to this? Maria shakes her head. No, I tried to avoid her after that day. Judy nods slowly. Then again, doesn't refer to you. She lets the implication settle like dust across the room. Evelyn flinches. Your Honor, you're twisting. No. Judy cuts in cleanly. I'm listening. Evelyn tries to respond, but the words tangle. She glances toward the gallery, searching for an ally among strangers who once admired her. None meet her eyes. Judy's tone softens, not kind, but deliberate. Mrs. Pierce, I've seen many people misuse influence. I've seen arrogance. But what you said on that call, that wasn't arrogance. Evelyn blinks. Then, what was it? Judy leans forward. It was familiarity. The room freezes. Familiarity, Judy repeats more slowly. The kind that only comes from experience. Evelyn's polished world begins to teeter. Her fingers curl around the edge of the table, knuckles whitening. Judy lets the silence sharpen before she delivers the first real blow. Mrs. Pierce, she says, eyes locked on Evelyn. This is not the first time someone has accused you of this, is it? Evelyn's breath stutters just barely, but enough to tilt the entire room. Her eyes slide away from Judy's, the reflex of someone recognizing a truth they never intended to confront in public. The gallery leans in, sensing an unraveling she can no longer stop. Judy doesn't rush. She lets the question linger. Is this the first time? It drifts through the courtroom like a slow ember hot enough to burn, steady enough to illuminate everything Evelyn hoped would stay hidden. Evelyn clears her throat. It sounds more like choking on regret. Your Honor, I'm not sure what you're implying. I've always conducted myself with the highest. Judy raises a single finger. Do not finish that sentence. It would be dishonest to both of us. A ripple of tension moves through the gallery. Evelyn's hands retreat into her lap, fingers knotting together. Her posture remains flawless, but the illusion of control has already begun to fracture. Judy turns to the clerk. Bring me the informal complaint file. Kaza head snaps up. Informal. There is no such thing. If someone made a claim, it would have been dismissed. Public figures are targeted all the time. You cannot treat every pattern as rumor. Judy interrupts softly. Do not argue timestamps with me, Mrs. Pierce. The clerk places a slim file on the bench. Not thick. Not dramatic. But meaningful in its thinness. The kind of file that suggests whispers rather than lawsuits. Enough to imply a pattern. Not enough for anyone to risk going public. Judy taps it once. This contains 3 separate notes from individuals who interacted with you at community events over the past 5 years. Evelyn's pulse jumps visibly in her throat. These are not lawsuits. Judy continues. They were never escalated. But each describes behavior consistent with what Miss Lopez reported today. Evelyn's breath trembles once. They misunderstood, she says weakly. Or, Judy replies. Leaning forward slightly, they recognized a pattern. Maria watches Evelyn with a mix of shock and quiet pity. She never imagined she was part of something larger, something practiced. Judy lifts the first page. A volunteer from a literacy fundraiser. She reported that you told her to know her place when she questioned a seating chart. A murmur rolls through the gallery. Judy lifts the second page. A staffer from a food bank event. She said you called her replaceable. The murmurs grow louder. Judy lowers her voice. And the third, she glances toward Maria, a young organizer who suggested a schedule change. She reported that you told her people like you should be grateful to be included. Maria's eyes widen. She has heard those words before. Too close. Too familiar. Evelyn closes her eyes. Your Honor, I never meant. Judy cuts in. Meaning matters less than impact. These complaints were never pursued because those women walked away. Miss Lopez is the first who refused to. Evelyn opens her eyes slowly. For the first time, the arrogance is gone. In its place is fear, quiet, fragile, and unmistakably real. Maria looks down at her folder. Finally understanding the weight of her own courage, Judy allows the moment to settle before speaking again. her voice steady as stone. "Mrs. Pierce," she says quietly, "where were you really going that morning before the brunch began?" Evelyn hesitates. Not long, not dramatic, but long enough for the truth to flicker behind her eyes. The courtroom feels it. The air tightens. The light seems to dim. Judy watches her the way a lighthouse watches a drifting ship. "Where were you really going that morning?" Evelyn opens her mouth. Nothing comes out. She closes it, inhales, and tries again. "I was headed to the venue." Even she flinches at how weak it sounds. Judy tilts her head. At 7:45 in the morning. The event began at 11. A quiet gasp moves through the gallery. Maria looks up sharply, the realization settling into her posture. Evelyn forces a smile that never reaches her eyes. "I like to prepare." It was an important day. Judy lifts one eyebrow movement that cuts through pretense more efficiently than any gavel ever could. "Mrs. Pierce, you are many things, but you are not sloppy. If you were truly preparing, there would be logistics, calls, staff. Instead, you were alone, driving in circles." Evelyn's composure falters. "You checked my movements." "No," Judy replies softly. "Your inconsistency did." Maria steps forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your Honor, I didn't know she was there early. I didn't see her until later." "You were not meant to," Judy says, her eyes never leaving Evelyn. Evelyn wrings her hands, another crack in the polished shell she has worn for years. "I was clearing my head," she says quickly. There was tension at home. "I just needed time." But Judy hears it, the wobble, the drift. The lie wrapped in a sliver of truth. "Mrs. Pierce," Judy says quietly, "the morning only stopped making sense when you tried to make it perfect." Evelyn blinks rapidly. Fighting tears she refuses to acknowledge. Maria swallows hard. "Your Honor, something else happened after the brunch, when I left. A man followed me to my car." The room stiffens. Judy turns to her. "Did he speak to you?" "No," Maria whispers. "He just stared, like he wanted me to know he was there." Evelyn's head snaps toward Maria. "I had nothing to do with that." Her voice cracks on the last word. Judy notices. The gallery notices. Everyone notices. "Mrs. Pierce," Judy says evenly, "when someone is followed, there is always a reason. And that reason usually begins long before the moment itself." Evelyn shakes her head. "I didn't send anyone. I wouldn't do that." But the panic in her voice betrays fear, not of guilt, but of something else. Something behind her. Something larger. Judy leans closer. "The man on the recording, your husband. What did he tell you that morning?" Evelyn's jaw locks. "Nothing." "He said nothing." "Then why?" Judy asks, her voice deadly calm. "Did you say I won't mess this up again before the call even connected?" Evelyn freezes. Maria's breath catches. The gallery collectively stills. Judy folds her hands. "Mrs. Pierce, we need to talk about the man on the phone." Evelyn's fingers grip the edge of the table, knuckles whitening, as if she could hold herself together by force alone. The mention of her husband shifts something in the room, something sharp, something unspoken. Judge Judy doesn't lean back. She leans in. The air thickens, heavy with the name no one wants to say aloud: Senator Pierce. Evelyn swallows hard, trying to hide the tremor that crosses her lips. "My husband is irrelevant to these proceedings," she says, but the sentence fractures halfway through. Betraying her fear, Judy doesn't blink. "Mrs. Pierce, men with power often remain irrelevant till the truth forces them into relevance." A low murmur ripples through the gallery. The bailiff shoots the room a warning look, but the tension is too thick to silence completely. Evelyn's composure snaps back into place by sheer muscle memory. "He had no involvement in this situation," she says firmly. "I contacted him out of panic." That is all. Judy folds her hands. Panic is a reaction. Your call was preparation. Ellen straightens. That is not fair. It is not supposed to be fair, Judy replies calmly. It is supposed to be factual. Evelyn's breath hitches. Her gaze drops to the table before forcing it back up. I want to make something clear. My husband did not ask me to call him. Judy nods slowly. Then tell me this. Her voice softens, but the softness carries a warning. If he did not tell you to call him, did he tell you to lie for him? The blow lands. Evelyn recoils, almost visibly shrinking. No, she whispers. No, he. You're twisting things. Maria's eyes widen. She clutches her folder tighter, sensing a truth she never expected to hear. Judy lifts a hand. Let me help you, Mrs. Pierce. Right now. You are using every tool you know, charm, composure, avoidance to shield the wrong person. I am shielding myself, Evelyn fires back. But the words ring hollow. Judy tilts her head. Then why does your voice crack every time I say his name? Silence falls like a heavy curtain. The gallery watches. Evelyn really watches her for the first time without the shine, without the political glow, without the armor. Her breathing is shallow. Her shoulders tremble ever so slightly. She looks less like a senator's wife and more like a woman walking across thin ice, unsure where it will break. Judy continues gently. Your husband is a public official, a powerful one. Power attracts certain behaviors. Evelyn's eyes dart up. He didn't threaten her, she says too quickly. I didn't say he did, Judy replies. Evelyn freezes. Maria's voice rises tentatively. Your Honor, that man who followed me was he from her husband's security team. Judy does not look away from Evelyn. We will get to him soon. Evelyn shakes her head violently. I didn't send him. I swear I didn't. I never wanted Maria scared. Her voice flutters like paper caught in a draft. Judy studies her. Mrs. Pierce, when someone tries this hard to defend another person, it is rarely loyalty. It is fear. Evelyn's lips part, but no sound comes. Her world built on image and influence begins to tilt. Judy leans forward, voice barely above a whisper. Tell me the truth, Mrs. Pierce. What exactly did your husband instruct you to do that day? Evelyn's pupils contract. Her breath stutters, as if Judy's question has reached a place she never meant to expose. The courtroom feels the shift of the tremor that comes just before glass shatters. Maria steadies herself, sensing the truth is no longer far away. For a long moment, Evelyn does not speak. Her silence isn't defiance. It is dread. Judy watches her with the patience of someone who's seen hundreds of people reach this exact emotional cliff point where arrogance stops protecting them and fear begins consuming them. Finally, Evelyn inhales shakily. He didn't instruct me to do anything, she manages. He just gave me guidance. That's all. Guidance. Judy repeats softly. Interesting word. Neutral on the surface, controlling underneath. Evelyn's glance snaps upward. You do not understand my marriage. Judy taps a finger once a measured strike against wood. Then enlighten me. Evelyn presses her lips together. Her hands, once elegantly poised in her lap, now tremble subtly, each quiver revealing more truth than her words ever have. He expects me to maintain order, to avoid embarrassment, to represent us well. Maria watches, stunned not because she pities Evelyn, but because the pieces are finally aligning. And did you feel you were failing him that morning? Judy asks. Evelyn's voice breaks. Yes. The gallery reacts a low, collective sound of recognition. This is not the confession anyone expected. Least of all, Evelyn herself. Judy's tone shifts, still firm, but now threaded with something quieter. So you called him during the hearing because you were afraid. Evelyn nods, once tiny, fragile. I didn't know what he wanted me to say. I needed direction. Direction, Judy echoes. And did he give you any? Evelyn hesitates. This is the hesitation that tells everything. I deleted the messages, she whispers. The gallery gasps. Even the bailiff turns, eyebrows lifting. Judy leans forward. Deleted. Why? Evelyn's throat constricts. Because they weren't helpful. Maria's grip tightens on her folder. Her voice, when it comes, is barely audible. He told you what to say about me, didn't he? Evelyn closes her eyes. I can't. You can. Judy interrupts gently. And you will. Evelyn's voice trembles. He sent a text. It said, keep her quiet. Do whatever you need. A collective inhale surges through the courtroom. Maria covers her mouth. Tears spill, but silently she refuses to make a sound. Judy's voice drops into something colder. And did you? Evelyn shakes her head violently. No, I didn't want to harm her. I panicked. I tried to control the situation before it spiraled. By lying. Judy says. Evelyn nods, breaking. Yes, by lying. The gallery shifts, some shocked, some angry, some unexpectedly sympathetic. Because beneath the sheen of privilege, Evelyn is unraveling into something painfully human. A woman cornered by fear, not power. Judy glances at the clerk. Bring up the next file. Screen brightens. A new thumbnail appears, video footage. Evelyn's breath catches. What? What is that? She whispers. Judy's voice lowers, almost gentle. Evidence of the man who followed Ms. Lopez. Evelyn's face drains of color. Judy presses a button. The video loads. Mrs. Pierce, Judy says, you need to see what he did. The lights dim as the screen warms. Evelyn's breath freezes in her throat, the kind of stillness that comes before a life changes direction. Maria grips the podium, bracing herself. The video begins with shaky footage. A bystander's phone aimed toward the entrance of the charity brunch. The image flickers as the camera adjusts. Dozens of well-dressed guests mill about, chatting and laughing. Unaware of the quiet tension threading through the moment. Then the camera shifts and Evelyn appears. She is not smiling. She is not gracious. She is not the polished figure who walked into Judy's courtroom. She stands inches from Maria, expression tight and venomous. Her finger jabbing toward the volunteer sign-up sheet Maria holds. The audio is faint, but the tone is unmistakably sharp. You do not question me. Evelyn's voice hisses through the speakers. Not today. Not ever. The gallery gasps. Even those inclined to defend her earlier sink into stunned silence. Evelyn covers her mouth, horrified. I didn't know someone was recording. Judy says slowly, is the problem. The video continues. Behind Evelyn stands a tall, expressionless man in a dark suit. He glances at Maria, then leans toward Evelyn, whispering something that makes her stiffen. Maria's hand flies to her chest. That's him. That's the man who followed me. Judy nods. I know. The camera zooms slightly as the man steps forward, scanning the crowd with clinical detachment as though assessing threats. His presence alone shifts the energy of the scene. Maria shrinks back, shoulders curling inward like someone bracing for impact. The clip continues. Evelyn turns away from Maria and pulls out her phone. Her movements are frantic, almost desperate. Should I call him? She whispers to the man. He nods. The gallery exhales collectively slow, heavy, tense. Maria recoils. So she wasn't panicking because of me. She was panicking because of him. Judy's gaze flickers to Evelyn. Mrs. Pierce, you said your husband did not instruct you to call, yet his employee clearly encouraged it. He's not his employee, Evelyn sputters. He's a consultant, a scheduler. I don't know why he, The lie collapses before it fully forms. The man in the video turns slightly, revealing more of his face. Judy pauses the frame. Gasps ripple through the room as recognition dawns. This man has appeared in two other community disputes where complaints against you were quietly dismissed, Judy says. Evelyn shakes her head. No, he wasn't there for me. He was assigned to protect the senator's image, Judy finishes. And by extension, yours. Evelyn collapses into her chair, face buried in her hands. Maria exhales shakily. The relief is not victory, it is validation. Judy's voice lowers. Mrs. Pierce, this fixer wasn't following Maria. He was following you and controlling the situation around you. Evelyn's shoulders tremble. The truth is no longer a line she crossed, is a wall collapsing around her. Judy leans forward. Evelyn, what exactly did he tell you to threaten her with? The paused frame of the fixer lingers on the screen. His eyes are flat and unreadable, like a man carved from stone rather than conscience. Evelyn stares at the image as if seeing a ghost she never meant to summon into daylight. Judy folds her hands. Ready to peel back the truth Evelyn has been terrified to name. Mrs. Pierce, Judy begins, quiet but razor sharp. This man has been present in 3 separate incidents involving your behavior. Evelyn flinches, dragging her palms down her thighs, leaving faint streaks where her foundation smudged. Your Honor, I didn't ask him to be there, she whispers. He just appears sometimes. My husband sends him to keep things organized. Organized, Judy repeats. Is that what you call what happened to Miss Lopez? Maria swallows, recalling the cold eyes watching her across the parking lot. She nods once, small but trembling. Evelyn closes her eyes, voice barely audible. I didn't know he followed her. I swear I didn't. Judy does not let her off the hook. But you knew he was there for you. The truth hits Evelyn with the weight of a falling beam. Her shoulders cave inward. She nods, defeated. He always stands just far enough away so no one questions him. But I see him, she admits, voice cracking. I always see him. Maria's lips part in shock, not because Evelyn admitted fear, but because it's the first genuine thing she's said all day. Judy leans back. So when you called your husband, you knew the fixer would handle whatever you couldn't. Evelyn shakes her head desperately. No. He told me to keep her quiet, not to hurt anyone. I would never, but he would, Judy interrupts. Evelyn's face drains of color. She knows Judy is right. She knows it in her bones. The courtroom is silent. Watching Evelyn unravel not out of guilt, but out of a deeper horror, the realization that the power she flaunted was never hers. It was his, and he used her like a shield. Judy softens her tone, not gentle, but humane. Mrs. Pierce, you weren't leading him. You were being led. Evelyn's chin quivers. I thought if I handled things the way he wanted, he'd stop being disappointed in me. Maria looks down at her shoes, absorbing the human mésanges of it, all in arrogance born from fear, not malice. Judy nods slowly. Fear is understandable, but what you did with it is not. Evelyn doesn't argue. She can't. The lie she hid behind has collapsed, leaving only a woman finally beginning to see the architecture of her own downfall. Judy turns to Maria. Miss Lopez, do you see him anywhere in this room today? Maria scans the gallery. Her body stiffens. No, she whispers. And that's what scares me. Evelyn shudders, a soft, broken sound escaping her. He doesn't lose sight of things. If he's not here, he's watching somewhere else. The gallery murmurs uneasily. Judy taps her pen once, a signal that the truth is about to get sharper. Mrs. Pierce. Judy says, eyes narrowing. What were you protecting? Him or yourself? Evelyn's eyes glisten not the glamorous sheen she normally wears, but something raw, cornered, something she has spent years swallowing. Judge Judy waits, unblinking, knowing the next words will change everything. Evelyn's breath trembles in slow, uneven waves. Her face is drained of every polished layer she walked in with. No jewels, no posture, no senator's wife armor can hide the panic rising beneath her skin. What was I protecting? She whispers, repeating Judy's question like a confession she isn't ready for. I don't know anymore. Judy studies her with clinical steadiness. Yes, you do. Say it. Evelyn flinches not because the words are cruel, but because they are true. Maria watches silently, clutching her folder like an anchor. Her eyes hold something complicated, not sympathy, but recognition. Recognition of a woman unraveling in real time. Evelyn inhales, and for the first time, it sounds like a sob strangled into silence. I was protecting the image, she murmurs. His image, our image, the one he built and the one he made me live inside. Judy tilts her head. He made you, or you chose to. The question slices deeper than accusation. It requires honesty, a kind of honesty Evelyn has not allowed herself in years. She folds completely. I chose it at first, she admits, voice breaking, because it felt powerful. Being the senator's wife meant I mattered. I belonged somewhere important. Maria's eyes soften subtly, involuntarily. Evelyn continues, the dam finally cracking. But then the expectations grew. Every event, every person I spoke to, every smile I gave had to be perfect. If I made a mistake, any mistake, it was my fault, my failure. My embarrassment brought consequences at home. Judy leans in slightly. Consequences. Evelyn nods, eyes glassy. Coldness, silence, disappointment that felt like punishment. He never hit me. He didn't have to. His words were enough. The gallery murmurs not from gossip, but from collective human ache. Evelyn wipes a tear with the back of her hand, smearing her perfectly applied makeup. I thought if I handled the brunch situation, if I made Maria's complaint disappear, he'd stop blaming me for last year's gala, for the reporter who overheard him, for every little thing that made him look less than perfect. Judy's voice lowers into something astonishingly gentle. So, this wasn't about Maria? No, Evelyn whispers. It was about not humiliating him again. Maria swallows hard. Mrs. Pierce, I never wanted to hurt you. I just wanted to be treated like a human being. Evelyn's shoulders collapse. I know that now. But in that moment, all I could think about was what he'd say if it got out of hand. Judy lets the room breathe just for a moment, enough to make space for the truth Evelyn has avoided for years. Then, quietly, deliberately, she asks the question that finally breaks her. Evelyn, what did he tell you that morning? Evelyn looks up. Tears streak down her cheeks. Her voice is barely a whisper. He told me not to embarrass him again. The room freezes. In that instant, the story reframes itself. This was never arrogance. It was survival disguised as superiority. Judy leans forward. Mrs. Pierce, the person you've been protecting isn't him. A beat. It's the version of yourself he made you fear. Evelyn sits frozen, her confession trembling in the air like a chandelier about to fall. Her image, once polished, rehearsed, impenetrable, now hangs in pieces around her feet. Judge Judy watches not with judgment, but with the clarity that comes from seeing people finally tell the truth. For a long moment, no one moves, not Maria, not the gallery, not even the babe. The room holds its breath around Evelyn's collapse. Her hands rest uselessly on the table. Palms open, fingers limp, like a woman finally too tired to pretend. Her foundation streaks down her cheeks in pale rivers. The perfection she wore like armor has melted, leaving behind the real face she fought so hard to hide. Judy inhales slowly. "Mrs. Pierce," she says, "I appreciate your honesty, but honesty now does not erase the harm." Evelyn nods, not as a performance, but as someone taking the first painful step toward owning what she did. "I know," she whispers. "I know." Maria takes a hesitant breath. She looks at Evelyn, not with victory, but with stunned human sorrow. "I didn't know you were dealing with all that," she says quietly. I never wanted to be treated like I was beneath you." Evelyn's voice fractures. "I'm sorry. I truly am. I thought controlling everything, controlling you, would stop things from getting worse at home." "That control," Judy says softly but firmly, "was not protection. It was projection. You threw your fear at someone who didn't deserve it." Evelyn nods again, shoulders curling inward. "I know," she repeats. She wraps her arms around herself, not to comfort, but to hold together whatever pieces remain. Judy studies her, not the senator's wife, not the polished social figure, but the quiet woman unraveling before her. "Mrs. Pierce, you said something earlier. You said the fixer just appears. Does your husband send him without your consent?" Evelyn hesitates. "He says it's for my safety." Judy's eyebrow lifts. "Is it?" Evelyn shakes her head slowly, painfully. "No, it's for his." The gallery murmurs again, softer this time, tinged with a complicated cocktail of empathy and disbelief. The layers of Evelyn's arrogance, cruelty, fear, and obedience mix into something almost heartbreaking. Maria speaks again, voice trembling but steady. "You didn't have to fight me," she says. "You could have told me the truth." Evelyn laughs, just once a broken, humorless sound. "People like me don't tell the truth," she says. "We perform it." Judy lets the words settle, then leans forward, her voice dropping into a low, deliberate tone. "Mrs. Pierce, I need to ask you something important. And I need you to answer as the person you are right now, not the person you pretended to be." Evelyn lifts her eyes for the first time. The room sees the woman beneath the title. "Do you want this part of your testimony?" Judy asks quietly. "On the record or off?" The question lands like a weight. Every breath in the courtroom pauses. Evelyn closes her eyes. A trembling exhale slips from her lips. She wipes her face, sits up just a little straighter, and nods with fragile resolve. "On," she whispers. "Put it on the record." Judy nods once slowly, gravely. "Then it's time," she says, "for the truth you've been avoiding the longest, us." Evelyn's voice no longer trembles from fear. It trembles from the weight of finally telling the truth aloud. Judge Judy watches her with steady patience, knowing that once this door opens, it cannot be closed again. Maria stands still, bracing herself for whatever comes next. Evelyn inhales slowly, each breath shaky, as if her lungs are relearning how to function without permission. Her hands rest flat on the table, palms exposed. No more fists, no more clutching the image she once wore like armor. Judy speaks softly. "Whenever you're ready." Evelyn nods, a fragile act of courage. "My husband," she stops, her throat constricting. "He's never been violent. Not in the way people imagine, but he uses silence like a punishment, disapproval like a leash." Maria's eyes soften, her shoulders relaxing into a posture that feels more human than adversarial. Evelyn continues, holding nothing back now. "He would critique everything: my tone, my posture, the way I held a wine glass at events. One wrong look and he'd freeze me out for days." Her breath trembles. "He said I made him look weak." Judy nods slowly. "So you controlled other people because you couldn't control him." A tear slips down Evelyn's cheek. "Yes," she whispers. "I thought if I could keep the world perfect around me, I could avoid disappointing him again. Maria looks at her, the pain in her eyes shifting into something deeper and understanding she never expected to feel. I didn't know any of that, she says, but it still hurt. Evelyn meets her gaze, raw and unguarded. I know, and I'm sorry. You didn't deserve the way I treated you. The apology isn't theatrical. It isn't polished. It's real. Messy, uneven, but real. Judy allows the moment to breathe. This is not pity. This is accountability wrapped in honesty. The room is silent. The gallery suspended in a strange blend of empathy and judgment. Evelyn wipes her face with the back of her hand. There were days, she says softly, when I thought about leaving, about telling someone. But every time I tried, he'd remind me how lucky I was, how privileged. How many people wished they were me. He isolated you, Judy says. Evelyn nods completely. Maria's chin trembles as she asks, Is that why you didn't stop the fixer when he followed me? Evelyn closes her eyes. I didn't stop him because I didn't know how to stop anything anymore. I was surviving, not deciding. Judy leans forward just slightly. Mrs. Pierce, you protected him because he convinced you that your worth depended on his approval. Evelyn collapses into the truth. Yes, the courtroom hums with quiet understanding, not forgiveness, not absolution, but comprehension of the complexity behind her cruelty. Judy takes a slow breath. Mrs. Pierce, before I rule, there is one more piece of evidence you both need to see. Maria's brows pulled together. Evelyn's eyes widen with dread. Judy signals to the clerk. A new file appears on the screen, one neither woman has seen before. The thumbnail is blurry, but the outline is unmistakable. A recording taken on the day of the brunch from a different angle. Judy's voice drops to a near whisper. This one, she says, changes everything. The screen flickers to life, pale light washing over Evelyn's tear-streaked face. Maria steadies herself, bracing for a truth she didn't know was missing. Judge Judy folds her hands, measured, patient, ready to show them both what they couldn't see. The new video begins without sound, just movement, shaky and uncertain, as if the person filming didn't realize they were capturing something important. The camera is angled from across the courtyard, half hidden behind a decorative pillar. The brunch venue stretches in the background. Flowers swaying in the warm morning breeze, oblivious to the tension threading through the moment. At first, the footage shows nothing unusual. Guests arriving, volunteers coordinating, Evelyn moving toward the entrance. Then it zooms slowly, almost accidentally. The fixer appears on the left edge of the frame, leaning against a wall, arms folded. Eyes locked on Evelyn with an unsettling stillness, not scanning the crowd, not assessing threats, just watching her. Maria inhales sharply. Evelyn's hand flies to her mouth. The video continues. Evelyn steps into frame, shoulders rigid, eyes tight with something painfully familiar now. Fear, not annoyance, not irritation, fear. She hasn't yet seen Maria. She hasn't yet confronted anyone. She hasn't yet spoken a harsh word, but she's already unraveling. Judy speaks softly, reverent almost. Mrs. Pierce, this is you. Before you spoke to Ms. Lopez, before any conflict, before any complaint, the camera jerks slightly as the person filming adjusts their grip. The fixer steps forward and whispers something into Evelyn's ear. Her entire posture collapses. A small, near-silent shudder ripples through her body. Maria covers her mouth not out of fear, but realization. She wasn't angry at me, she whispers. She was already breaking. Evelyn's tears spill silently, helplessly. She shakes her head slowly as the footage shows her lifting her phone, hesitating, and then pressing her husband's number with a trembling thumb. Judy lets the silence stretch, letting the truth settle where assumptions once lived. You weren't preparing for a confrontation, she says. You were trying to survive one. Evelyn collapses into herself, shoulders buckling. I was so scared, she whispers. He told me after the last event that I made him look incompetent. That if I embarrassed him again, she can't finish. Her voice breaks. Maria steps forward, not close enough to touch, but close enough to be heard. I didn't know, she says quietly. But even if someone is hurting you, it doesn't excuse hurting someone else. Evelyn nods through tears. I'm sorry. I truly am. Judy rises slightly, her voice firm now, grounding the room. What this video shows is important. Not because it absolves you, Mrs. Pierce, but because it reveals the truth behind your behavior. The screen freezes on Evelyn, eyes wide, shoulders tense, fear etched into every muscle. It is a mirror neither woman expected to see. Judy closes the file, her tone turning final, steady, unshakable. It's time, she says, to deliver judgment. The courtroom is still so still. It feels like the room itself is holding a collective breath. Evelyn stares at the table. Maria clutches her folder. Judge Judy rises just enough to command the entire space without raising her voice. The verdict isn't just coming, it's already in the air. Judy places both hands on the bench, her voice low, steady, clear enough to cut through every lingering emotion in the room. This case, she begins, is not about politics. It is not about status. It is not about image. It is about choices and the consequences of those choices. Evelyn lifts her eyes, fragile, drained, stripped of every protective layer she had hidden behind for years. Maria stands tall, not triumphant, but grounded in the truth, finally on her side. Judy nods toward Maria. Ms. Lopez, you were intimidated, dismissed, and followed by someone acting on behalf of Mrs. Pierce's household. You showed restraint and dignity in the face of behavior no volunteer or any person should have to endure. The court finds in your favor. Maria gasps softly, tears filling her eyes. Relief and validation wash over her, steady and warm. Judy turns to Evelyn, her voice shifting, no cruelty, just uncompromising clarity. Mrs. Pierce, you misused influence. You lied. You attempted to manipulate the truth because you were afraid of the consequences at home. Fear does not excuse your actions, but it does explain them. Evelyn nods, tears streaking down renewed paths along her cheeks. As a result, Judy continues. You are ordered to compensate Ms. Lopez for damages stemming from intimidation and emotional distress. You will also issue a formal written apology and attend a third-party accountability and restorative conduct program. Evelyn bows her head. She doesn't argue. She doesn't flinch. She simply accepts. Judy's voice lowers, gaining weight. Regarding the fixer's involvement, this court cannot rule on actions outside its jurisdiction. However, I am referring his conduct and the surrounding circumstances to the appropriate authorities for review. A wave of whispers spreads across the gallery, shocked, impressed, relieved. Not a punishment for the sake of punishment, but a step toward accountability. Evelyn wipes her face again, her voice trembling. Your Honor, thank you for not humiliating me. Judy's gaze softens, only slightly. Humiliation is not justice. Consequences. Evelyn nods, understanding the difference at last. Maria steps forward. Mrs. Pierce, I accept your apology. I hope you find space to heal from whatever pain made you treat people that way. Evelyn's breath stutters, her gratitude silent but palpable. Judy leans back in her chair, the emotional storm settling around her like dust and sunlight. This court expects growth, she says. Not performance, not image growth. She lifts her gavel. A single crack echoes through the room like a moral heartbeat. Judgment for the plaintiff. The gallery exhales. Relief, closure, clarity. Maria hugs her folder to her chest. Evelyn stands slowly, fragile but honest, as if taking her first unsteady steps in a world where truth is no longer her enemy. Judy watches her go, eyes steady, voice calm. Arrogance collapses fast. But truth knows how to endure.